And our next speaker is going to help you in the most incredible way get in front of more people, specifically digitally. So without further ado, I want to welcome our next speaker onto the stage, Mr. Stewart Vickers, everybody.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, confession time for Jesus. I left my slides to the last minute. Anyone else did the homework the night before I was due in? But I think that was a good thing, because Nick said to me on Wednesday night, in 10 years, no one has actually been able to explain to me what SEO actually is. I thought, that's really funny, Nick. Thinking about it, do I actually have a slide that says what SEO actually is? So I added one. SEO is about showing up for the hungry people who are already looking to buy from you. Does that sound like the people you want to attract? It converts better than paid ads. This has been proven. Does anyone else here find you need something, you Google it, and you tend to skip past the paid ads at the top? Is anyone else like that? So it's been shown time and again, that's what most people do, whereas the top organic results generally tend to be pretty good. So therefore they convert much better. Now, it does take time and money to build, but ultimately it really compounds over time. We talk about this as digital real estate. You want to not only have a nice website, but actually get that website ranking. The average position 1 result in Google is about 2 to 3 years old, which might seem like an initial grind to actually get to that point. But it means once you've made that initial effort, you're quite likely to stick there. It really is like building real estate, building a house, where you actually own your traffic and continue to attract that over time. A perfect example of this, one of my clients, they were spending 10 grand a month on paid Google ads, literally getting no sales. They're an insurance company, and with just 3 blog posts, we got them up to £50,000 a month purely through SEO. Turned off all the ad spend, 3 blog posts, ranked at the top of Google, and converted. Basically, they're trying to rank for home insurance or all these really big competitive terms, but you dig down and you find these more niche searches like landlord insurance in Scotland or grade 1 listed building insurance. And suddenly it's much less competitive. I love that quote from the film War Dogs. Has anyone seen that? Where they say, I don't want the pie, I just want the crumbs. Picking up those small golden opportunities rather than trying to fight for the big sort of headline. And they're now valued at £5 million as a result. Great thing about SEO, you make that investment, you build that real estate, and then you're pretty much all in margin because you don't have any ad costs at that point. Now, I'm sure this is a familiar story to most of us. Does anyone recognize that corporate blue office carpet? And you share that feeling of when is the right time to actually quit your day job? That's the exact position I was in 3 years ago now. So this is a Facebook post from October 2021 where I said, what's your emergency? I think my dreams just died. Now, I've been doing blogs and online magazines for probably about 7 years now. And originally, I was just trying to go viral on Facebook. This was the BuzzFeed era, just try and get that article trending with the right hook. But it's a real grind. I'm sure many of you know this. When you're reliant on social media, you get a great 48 hours initially, and then it's dead. You've got to do it all again. You're in this constant content treadmill. But then 6 months down the line, I started seeing certain articles I'd written were continuing to get traffic and sales. And that's when it really occurred to me what SEO actually is when you write those things that people are already looking for. And of course, you get the sales as a result. It's not just that box on the website builder where you think, I've written an article about walking, it's asking for a keyword. I don't know, I'll just put in walking and then move on. Just write the stuff that people are already looking for. So, had these blogs on the side, and because of that, got pretty good at making this work, scaling this SEO process, finding out what people are Googling, and writing that content. So, had a couple of sites on the side, ranking on Google, making commissions through affiliate marketing, and at this point, when I was in the corporate job, I sold one of them. Meanwhile, this corporate job had not just 1, but 2 SEO agencies. And I'm sure many of us know the feelings that a lot of the time that a lot of agencies don't really perform as we hope they will. And in that case, there were these 2 agencies which I was really unimpressed by. And I thought, with what I know about SEO, we could do so much more in-house. And they kind of recognized that, and they said, it seems like you're not particularly happy in the role. I said, well, there is a reason for that. And I think you're literally pushing me in the direction that I should quit and build a better SEO agency. Now, at the time, they were joking around saying Stuart's going to be a digital nomad. And I said, no, I'm quite happy in London. I think I'll stay in London. 3 weeks later, I'm in the Colombian rainforest. I was invited to a mastermind retreat with the great Ron Reich, a couple of days in the hotel, and then a fantastic trip, whitewater rafting and camping in the Colombian rainforest with helicopters back. And therefore got involved with a lot of high-ticket coaches and realized, I think we've got a lot of high-ticket coaches in the room. Hands up. What about coaches generally, aside from the high-ticket element? So I thought, that's a good niche. When you're starting out, as Nick says, you should niche down and try and dominate a particular niche. So I wrote the book, The Power Lever Method, Amazon bestseller, all about SEO for coaches. And you can download it absolutely free now. I've moved on since then because of my YouTube presence, but at the time, entirely focused on coaches. And at the time, I was relying on in-person marketing, traveling to events around the world. For the last 2 years, I was basically doing an event somewhere in the world just about every month, which was great at the time. But again, like Nick says, one-to-one is how you start selling, but down the line, you really need to scale to more of a one-to-many type role. And that's exactly what happened in September, when I knew I had these SEO skills, but I was struggling to actually get the leads in. But then in September, I've been playing around with all sorts of different online lead generation strategies, including ads, so I was open-minded, and eventually just started hitting YouTube and decided I'm just going to do a basic screen share every day on YouTube, some sort of tutorial, some sort of case study. And it just totally blew up. Within 3 weeks, I was getting clients. Now, let's not forget, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, so we're going to be talking about Google initially, but I'm suspecting in the room, more of you might actually be interested in the YouTube element. I think SEO is great for certainly bricks and mortar businesses, local businesses, but if you're a coach just starting out or any kind of consultant, anything where you need that trust, then YouTube is fantastic. You can literally get sales within days. Just asking the room, do you think you want more of the SEO side, or is it more of the YouTube side? Okay, so I'll go quickly through the SEO part. So SEO, and this applies to YouTube as well, it's all about targeting. So you want to match what people are actually searching for, because these algorithms are just machines. So you've got to be very deliberate to give them what they want. And then it's content. So with Google, that does tend to be blog posts. With YouTube, of course, it's videos. And of course, that's crafting the pages that actually match what these algorithms like. And then it comes down to backlinks. This is really more of a Google type thing. But basically, that comes down to links on other websites recommending you and your brand in order to push you higher up that particular algorithm. Google's obviously quite secretive about its algorithm, but every now and then there's a data leak or there's the ongoing antitrust trials, and therefore some of their algorithm actually comes out, some of their internal documentation, and it basically confirms all the stuff we've already known about. And this is exactly what I've said. It's about what's on the page, it's about what the rest of the internet says about that page, and it's about how users interact with the page. So I keep saying it's all about targeting. Find what people are actually searching for. Have we got any public speaking coaches in the room? I'm suspecting a few. So there are about 1,000 searches per month in the US for public speaking coach. They literally type public speaking coach into Google 1,000 times a month. So the number one result, Moxie Institute, they're getting around 1,000 visitors. And when I say visitors, these are people who are already Googling for a public speaking coach. Those are pretty hot leads, very likely to convert. They're at the bottom of the funnel. So I keep having to repeat it. Google is just a machine. You just have to tick the right boxes in order to give it what it wants. And the great thing about it is those boxes are right in front of you. The top 10 results in Google for your keyword tell you exactly what you should be doing. It's all about correlation. So there are tools to help with that. This one's called Surfer. And basically, you can put in the keyword you're trying to target, and it will scrape your top 10 competitors for that keyword and give you a recipe based on everything that Google is rewarding and liking that that website is doing. Now, in my case, I simply copy this long list of suggestions from the word count, the headings, FAQs, and I put it straight into ChatGPT, and I basically say, give me this long-form blog post optimized for all these terms, these headings, these FAQs. Okay, you need to touch it up a bit, improve it, rewrite it afterwards, but fundamentally, you can get a really good article in less than 10 minutes. So, as a live case study, we've got our fabulous MC, Danny Wallace, also a public speaking coach. how can Danny Wallace rank #1 for public speaking coach? So just a snapshot of her website. Now, I suspect many of you will fall into the same camp. I audit so many websites where we're told all about messaging and branding, which is fantastic, but Google is just a machine. If we're not saying repeatedly that Danny Wallace is a public speaking coach, Google is not able to rank her for public speaking coach. So I've highlighted one example on the page. And again, with Surfer, we can get an analysis of her overall content score based on all those recommendations. And currently, unfortunately, it's only 20. Whereas Moxie Institute, who we saw earlier, they're right at the top. They've got a content score of 71. And we can see that clear correlation between the higher content scores and higher rankings in Google. So what does that actually come down to? It's not just including your main keyword. Everyone says SEO is just repeating this keyword all over the page. You do want to do that, but you also want to include all these other topics as well. Because think about it, if you're Google and you've got all these articles talking about the best business coach, and yet one of them doesn't mention Tony Robbins, then the chances are that article isn't so comprehensive. Maybe it's not as good. So you need to include all the relevant topics within the article to tick that box that you've covered all those criteria. Then we have the word count. So in Danny's case, we've got 600 words. Really, we're looking for more 2,000, 3,000 words, and that's actually quite common. Unfortunately, we like to be succinct. That's what we're told in the school. Try and be direct and to the point, but Google, to actually get all that data, it actually really likes long-form content. So most blog posts generally should be about 2,000 to 3,000 words long in order to rank on Google. So we've got to use blog posts. We've got 20 public speaking coaches who have improved their website, and they've got these perfect pages, highly targeted. You can use ChatGPT, you can be human, whatever you want. So they've done all those on-page recommendations. But if you're Google, I know we like visualizations here. If you were Google, how do you decide which of these pages should actually be higher up or lower down? Does anyone want to shout out some suggestions? We know the content's good. I heard someone said links. Backlinks, yep. So backlinks are like votes of confidence in your website from other websites. Now, some of these are really easy to get. So your social media links, you can do a press release for $100. You can get listed in local business directories for free. Those are all good links. There's nothing wrong with those. But the chances are the easier backlinks to get tend to be much less powerful. But you still need them. You might as well get them, especially if they're free. And then to the harder end of the scale, we've got PR and outreach. In the agency, our main deliverable, optimizing a page of content, isn't that hard. But going out and getting these links, that's the challenge. So we reach out to thousands of websites every week, negotiating with them, saying, can you please link to our client? And there's plenty of ways of doing this. You can do traditional PR. You can just outreach to bloggers. Much more difficult, but much more powerful. So if we think of these backlinks as votes of confidence, how many does Danny actually need to rank #1 for public speaking coach? In this particular example, unfortunately, we've got Forbes at #1, so challenging. But this tool that I'm using, Ahrefs, it's one of these keyword tools that basically gives you an insight into the back end of Google. So what the Google searches are people making and how good are different websites. So I can literally look at any of your websites on this tool and see how much traffic you're getting from Google. And that's the best way to find keywords. Look at your competitors, get ideas from there. What it also does, there's other alternatives available and cheaper, free versions. But the main thing I use it for is actually how powerful a website is based on its backlinks. So we know we need backlinks, and we know we need a quantity of backlinks, but we also need a quality of backlinks. Because if it's all about quantity, then of course that gets spammed to hell. We need quality. So you'll see this metric DR, that stands for domain rating. It's out of 100, and that basically assesses the power of a domain based on the quality and quantity of its backlinks. So therefore tells you how competitive a search is. If there's a DR 0 at #1, then anyone can rank for that. If there's a DR, in this case, of 94 at the top, then obviously that's much more difficult. But for Danny's sake, for public speaking coaches everywhere, actually Moxie Institute has only got a DR of 34 out of 100. So it's not that competitive. Underneath we've got Jennifer Hennings. That's a DR of just 11. So I can guarantee anyone in this room can get up to a DR of 11 very quickly within a matter of weeks, just with those listings in business directories, press releases, and a little bit of outreach. It's really not a big goal to hit. And then right at the bottom, Lauren Wright, We've got a DR of 3, and actually, if we look across to the backlinks and domains column, she's only got one website linking to it, and yet she's on page 1 of Google for Public Speaking Coach. And from that, she gets traffic of 55 visitors every month who are searching for Public Speaking Coach. So overall, competition, really not that difficult. Now, I met someone at EE in November. They took action and signed up with me, and thankfully got fabulous results. So optimize the content early on, make sure their pages were correct and targeting the right keywords, getting all those correct comprehensive content on there, and then started building the backlinks. So the blue line here is the backlinks. The orange line is the traffic. So obviously a fantastic growth, but you might be thinking organic traffic of 75 a month, that's not very much. But the organic traffic value is $2,000 a month. And that's because these keywords actually have a value, what we call a cost per click. And that's decided by Google Ads. So what this is telling us is that to get the same traffic, to get those 75 clicks in that niche on those keywords would cost $2,000 a month. So there's nothing wrong with paid ads. They're a great way to start off. But once you've built this evergreen, this organic traffic, you've built your real estate, you can turn your ads off, and your organic traffic is equivalent, in this case, to spending $2,000 a month for the rest of time, potentially. We know that SEO improves with age. I said average position 1 result, 2 to 3 years old. So in this case, this is only about 8 months in. Very likely that this is going to keep improving and improving over time. That value is going to go up and up. So just an example of that, one of their keywords, that gets searched 1,700 times every month. The CPC of that keyword, so the value of that keyword, the amount that people are paying, bidding on that click in Google Ads, is $24. And they went from position 64, which I don't think anyone checks position 64, that's about page 6, right up to position 15. So about the middle of page 2 of Google, within a matter of months of signing up. So if you work that out, it's $24 a click. The potential audience, potentially 1,700 leads a month, then you can build really significant traffic values with this organic content. It's just blog posts on a page. And you can repeat that for 2 years. That's all SEO is. 90% of it is just the content and the backlinks, and you can rinse and repeat. So this client, in that case, this is the course creator. They're now up to 50,000 visitors per month through this exact same process. It's really not as complicated as a lot of people make it seem. So bricks and mortar businesses are absolute SEO goldmine, especially local businesses. Now, I'm suspecting there might be other people in the room who have the same concern I do, that there's this AI threat of, am I going to be replaced? Wouldn't it be great if I could have some sort of secure asset where I can have some AI resistance? Is that familiar with anyone? Yeah. So in my case, I basically thought, could I potentially build a bricks and mortar local business? But going back to what Daniel Priestley was saying the other day about pre-selling, can we potentially get the leads and then deal with hiring staff and actually knowing if that's a viable business or not? So I live in Enfield in North London. Cleaners Enfield, I think Cleaners is reasonably AI-proof. I don't think cleaners are ever going to be replaced in the near future. And there's 150 searches a month for Cleaners Enfield, never mind all the other related keywords. So in this case, I just got the domain name cleanersenfield.co.uk. 6 weeks later, it is at position 2 in Google. And that's with nothing more than a page of ChatGPT content. I spent $200 on the backlinks through the listings and business directories and the press release. That was it. No design, nothing fancy, just pure ChatGPT with all those recommendations from the tool I mentioned on the homepage. So much so, I didn't even realize I didn't take out where it says at company name, we provide. So absolute minimal effort, and yet ranked top of page 1 in 6 weeks. Good tip, keyword-rich domains like that one do seem to perform very well. So I mentioned about domain ratings. Well, obviously lawyer SEO expert should be really competitive, but there's a domain rating of 2 at number 3, and that's because they've got the domain name lawfirmseo.expert. So people are always asking, what should my domain name be? And I think most people in the room, you've gone for your name as a domain name, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you do get a bit of an advantage if you're still thinking about it, if you can get the keyword you want to rank for into your domain name. Now, we're all talking about AI in this talk. So again, that idea of take the recommendations that we know tick the right boxes with Google, everything that should be on that page, put it into ChatGPT, put that on a domain name that has got the keyword in it, and let's see how that performs. Let's do this at scale. It's just testing. And in this case, I own 27 insurance websites. Again, we'll build them first, minimal effort, and then we'll work out setting the leads once we have the leads. And once again, they rank really well. So you can really scale up quickly with ChatGPT content. It's not perfect. It's not the best conversion orientated, not the best sales content, but to actually get your page ranking in the first place and test this out, it's fine. And then you can go in and improve it. This is literally what those websites look like. So they look terrible, but the point is they tick the right boxes. So I know many of you in the room have fabulous websites you spent a lot of money on, and all that design is fantastic. But let's not forget they need to tick the right boxes so you actually get the traffic. And let's not forget, Google actually loves real brands. I've definitely noticed with my clients, my own website, if you can get more branded traffic, so people Googling your brand name, then you seem to get a big advantage. Because obviously Google is all about trust. If Google can see that 200 people a month are searching your brand name, then you get this big trust factor, and therefore all your other pages rank much better. Your public speaking coach page will rank much better if for instance, Danny Wallace has lots of Google searches for Danny Wallace. Now, I've tried to create a bit of a toolkit for this. It all comes down basically to getting more people to Google you. So, as an example, when I'm doing my YouTube videos, I generally avoid putting links in the description because that can limit the reach, but I like telling people to Google me, because that way, not only do I avoid having a link in my description, but also I get more of that branded search traffic. So Google can see more people are looking for SEO Jesus, and therefore I get an advantage there. All my other pages start to rank much better. So created a little toolkit there of the sort of creative and more sort of honest ways of doing this, and ways you can do that with software. Now, on the subject of software and slightly shadier ways of doing this, I've got a friend, James Dooley, who managed to totally abuse this and use a tool to put thousands of searches into Google of why is James Dooley the best SEO in the world? And that meant other bloggers, website owners like me who had access to these tools were looking for keywords, were seeing thousands of searches for why is James Dooley the best SEO in the world, and therefore writing content saying, why is James Dooley the best SEO in the world? So page one of Google absolutely full of reinforcing this belief, which it's free PR, fantastic for brand. In a future generative search or using ChatGPT as a search engine, if you can get loads of people to repeat this kind of terminology, these semantics, then that's a good way to actually train the AI. Now, Google is great for bricks and mortar, but like I say, many of you here still starting out, or you've got more of a consulting type business, and for me, YouTube has been fantastic. So in my case, I've made $1,200 from YouTube banner ads, nothing to write home about at all, but it's been transformative for my agency and my personal brand. So literally in September, I was struggling to crack this online lead generation. I was traveling the world, meeting people at events, getting clients that way, but that's really difficult to scale. And especially sucks when you travel the world, spend lots of money to go to a high-level event, and you end up not getting anywhere with it. And so I always knew I had to crack this online lead generation. And so in September, I start hitting YouTube with a video per day, and this is my Stripe dashboard. Agency revenue goes to the roof, literally start getting leads within 3 weeks of publishing those videos. So I've scaled my agency revenue 5 times as a result in just 6 months since starting YouTube. Initial concern was, are high-ticket clients actually hanging around on YouTube? Is that going to be a viable audience? Well, I've landed 20K a month clients from YouTube. I now get sponsored video deals coming to me. One of those offers is now at $2,000. I've been invited to speak around the world far more than I was before. I even get major industry leaders DMing me to the extent that there's people who I've joined their mastermind 6 months ago, and now 6 months later, they're joining my mastermind, which I never saw coming. On that subject, sold out my own mastermind early bird within 24 hours because I had that audience, I got them into an email list, and then once you have that email list, you can sell all kinds of different product launches whenever you feel like it. So, going back to Daniel Priestley yesterday, I've spent the last 6 months putting all these learnings into a book, literally on everything I did to get big on YouTube, to get clients, scale my agency through YouTube, And my plan for today was to give you 3 free chapters, and that's still all over the slides, still all over the landing page. But Daniel Priestley the other day said the whole point of a book is to give away 1,000 free copies per year. So I thought, okay, challenge accepted. I know there's 500 people in the room, so I'd love to ask you all for a favor. If you scan this QR code, you'll get it absolutely free. It's already an Amazon bestseller. I was literally charging for it. A few people have bought. You'll be refunded as soon as I get off stage. Also, when I get off stage, I'm going to take off this offer because it was not the plan to give this away for free forever. But as an Expert Empires bonus, I am happy to do that. So I'll just give you 1 more minute for that. I'm actually running on time, which is a relief. So there is a course on this as well, but literally the book contains all the information of the course. It's how I was putting all my thoughts down on paper so I could organize them into a structure that then went into the course. So easily $500 worth of value in the book, all for free. So a sample of how that actually works. In terms of the main teaching of the book, partly I go on about keeping things really simple. So I talk about really reducing the friction of producing a video. I think most of us, we all want to start on YouTube, but we hold back because we need the right camera, the right microphone, and the right lighting. And then we need video editing software or to hire a video editor. And I did the exact same thing, and all of that went away as soon as I committed to just recording a really basic, imperfect video every day. So as a basic screen share, I just use Loom. I did a quick 10-minute edit afterwards. There's no microphone, nothing fancy, but it worked. It was closing me clients within 3 weeks. Now, other than sheer volume, doing a video every day, I think the most valuable aspect of everything I've found, it all comes down to the hook. And the hook really needs to be, how does this help me achieve my dream outcome without actually doing any work or spending any money? Now, that might seem a bit shady. In the video itself, do obviously go into details and give the real content, the real value. But you can't help anyone if they don't click on the video in the first place. So you've really got to go all in on selling that video, maximum clickbait, same thing with the thumbnails, get them onto the video and then deliver the value. So I can predict the success of a video before it even goes out, purely based on, I've now done 215 videos since September. So you learn very quickly what works with your audience. And for me, it's definitely this formula. And you can repeat this, I think, for the vast majority of niches. So then we have the fails. Anytime I go into something more technical, more valuable, that I think is really important information, it just bombs. 500 views at max. Even in here, everyone asks me, how do you make your thumbnails? Where basically, I create this custom ChatGPT, I copy my transcript, that ChatGPT custom GPT is pre-programmed with all the best practice for a YouTube thumbnail, and then from that transcript, it'll spit out my thumbnail. So loads of people requested that video, I recorded it, and it bombed. It got 500 views. So don't do technical. You can do technical in the video, but you've got to sell the video to get them on it. So what about YouTube SEO? Well, I have to say, even though keywords are still important with YouTube, it really does come down to engagement. YouTube is all about watch time and volume. So in my case, I've happily ranked loads of videos on Google, on YouTube. So the Google Knowledge panel, where you get your name coming up with that nice rich panel with your social profiles on it on Google. I got one of those about 6 months ago and then did a video on how to do it. So now anytime someone searches for a Google Knowledge panel, my video comes up. That's both on Google and YouTube. However, I got far better results when I just did maximum clickbait, how I rank 500 instant AI blog posts on Google in 3 weeks with, I think it was ChatGPT or something like that. So virality really does work with YouTube. It's great that you get this benefit of the SEO, the long-term evergreen search, but for me, it's all about volume. It's about getting that big viral push at the beginning. Someone's listening to a video. Excellent. Thank you very much. So how do you drive more engagement on YouTube? Open with your hook. Make that promise. Set the scene. But I'd like to then immediately go into your calls to action. Everyone puts their calls to action at the end of the video, but that means no one's really going to see it. Now, what we want to do is get our watch time up. Those first 30 to 60 seconds are absolutely crucial, and you want to get as many people over that hurdle as you can in order to get that video to blow up. So in my case, I open with the promise, but then immediately go into what I want that user to actually do. What action do I want them to take? Because then they've got to wait a bit longer to get the value content, and also I get maximum exposure for my lead magnet. Now, by building that email list, you can get more engagement on future videos because you already have an audience. So you can publish that video and immediately send it to your list and get maximum traffic to that video. Now, obviously, if you don't already have an audience, that's really tough. Starting out with YouTube is really difficult. You've got that initial grind where you're trying to get that initial traction and engagement. So one way around that is a tool called VidOptima. It might seem a bit shady to some people, but they basically employ a network of people around the world whose job it is to search your keyword, click on your listing, your video, and watch your video 5 times over. And it sounds a bit black hat, but the whole point is it's just a gentle touch. It's only about 50 people, but that's enough just to get an initial push so that YouTube realizes this video is viral, this is a valuable video, we should distribute it wider across the platform. So I've got nothing against these tactics where if you just need a gentle push to get off the initial starting line, and then you can get that organic traction. So test it out. In this case, I was trying to rank for the keyword, how to rank videos on the first page of Google. So first video, I did the how-to video, setting it up, how I was going to achieve this, and I ranked it on page 1 within a matter of hours. This is page 1 of Google using a YouTube video because you've got that video pack on Google. And then had the success, so I then did the case study video saying, here's how I ranked the video on the first page of Google in 24 hours. The next day, both of those videos were in the video pack on page 1 of Google for that same keyword. And that's me done. So got some exclusive offers for Expert Empires on the QR code. You've all got the books. Any questions, do come to the stand. Thank you very much.